Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with one more Immortal Messages. Immortal Messages is a program based on the book Psychophonic Instructions, and it comes to us as a beautiful compilation by Arnaldo Rocha. It was originally published, of course, in Portuguese because it came through Chico Xavier. And after 66 years, it comes to you in English. Yay! Even the phone is ringing saying, hooray! Hooray to you and to me and to all of us. The book is still under revision, and we will pass it on to the publisher, the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. And meanwhile, we're going to make comments about this book here at Cardiac Radio. As you can see in the background, this picture by Versátil Editora, made by the team of Oceano Vieira de Mello, gives us an idea about what the meeting was all about. In 1954, Chico Xavier and his mediumistic team working together to rescue spirits that are suffering and receive messages that are illuminated. And here you can see May May and Emmanuel and other spirits around who are always helping, assisting, enlightening. Today, the message is titled On the Go or Marching. Marching to where? Right? To the light, of course. And this is a message that came on July 22nd, 1954. Dr. Germiniano Góes, a lawyer and spiritist in Brazil, who discarnated in Rio de Janeiro in 1904, but dedicated his life to spiritism and its dissemination, comes to us to talk about a beautiful warning to incarnates, especially to us spiritists, inviting us to consider the value of time in our earthly journey. So we are in a better place in the spiritual plane. Are you ready, dear friends? Yes? Welcome to Cardiac Radio. If you're watching this on demand or listening to this, feel our embrace. You know, every hour is an hour. These messages are immortal. They are as if we were there. Visualize Chico Xavier being the speaking medium of Dr. Germiniano Góes as he now speaks to us. Are you ready? It is fair not to forget that we're still beings in evolutionary growth in order to extract from time the values and the essential advantages to our ascent. The pilgrimage in the physical realm is like the spiritual life, but in another way of being, as much as the struggle, short of death, is the continuation of the earthly learning in a different expression. Analyzing the infinite immensity of the worlds, we group ourselves on earth in a simple vibratory range, just as a certain group of birds of the same condition get together in a patch of the forest, or as a family of frogs gathers at the bottom of the same well. We do not express from the glorious life that surrounds us because we are conditioned to our reduced progress. I'm going to rewind the tape. I'm going to redo this. Because of our reduced progress, we do not express from what the glorious life that surrounds us, but a small part, which we attach to the narrow perceptions of our sensory pattern proper to ourselves. When in the body, we are servants of the world, enrolled in the school of predominantly objective experience, enjoying a precious instrument, which is the dense vehicle in which the brain, with all the implements of the nervous networks, can be compared to a radio apparatus of emission and reception, operating in the type of wave inferior or superior to us, and in which the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the hands, and the feet represent our working accessories, subordinated to the command of the mind. Beyond death, without the physical body, we are still the workers of the world, enrolled in the school of predominantly subjective experience, recording the results of the good and the bad actions which we decided to mentalize and extend. By imprisoning us in the flesh, or by freeing ourselves from it, being born and dying, resurfacing to the splendor of immortality, or reappearing in the shadow of the planet, we live in ceaseless march towards the archetypes that eternity has traced for us and which we must attain. You who have found in our company so many painful problems of mental fixation in troubled and suffering spirits, consider with us the importance of the day that runs away. We gather from life only what we collect from the hours of life. Time is the sublimation of the saint. Time is the beauty of the hero. Time is the greatness of the wise. Time is the cruelty of the evildoer. Time is the anguish of the penitent. And time is the ordeal of the companion who preferred to accommodate himself within darkness. From time, heaven arises to the happy heart of the good worker, and hell to the restless conscience of the unfaithful servant. Let us make our task, whatever it may be, a song of praise to work, to fraternity, and to study. Serve, love, and learn. Let us expand the horizon of our understanding, aerating our souls and filtering only the light, so that light favors us. And as for you in particular, you who still hold the valuable opportunity of contact with the physical garment, avoid still today the ingestion of evil, so you won't digest mud and gall tomorrow. Dr. Germiliano Gois. Wow, apparently simple, but not simple. A illuminated spirit that comes, especially for us spiritists, to tell us about our choices and our mental fixations. He's talking about time, but he's talking about how we use our time. I remember Mentor Joseph asking us at the Spirit Side of Virginia to do simple math, because sometimes we think we do so much good, right? But take a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper and write it down. How many hours during your everyday life do you do the good without any reward? So your job doesn't count. Because that is a good thing, but we're talking about without any reward. How many hours? 1 hour a day times 7 every day? 7 hours a week? 7 hours times 4, which is 4 weeks of the month. we're talking about 28 hours a month. And now I'm going to get the calculator here because I'm no genius. And you don't need to be when you have a calculator in front of you, right? So there I have the calculator. And it says here 28 hours a month times 12 months, 336 hours a year. Let's say times 30 years, the most when we are able to do this subsequently, 30 years. 10,000 hours. So if you do dedicate 1 hour of your day to doing the good every day of the week for every month, in 30 years, you'll be an expert in that. 10,000 hours. That's what science says. After 10,000 hours, you become an expert. Okay? But that's besides the point of being expert or not. Now, let us do the math now of how many hours we actually have. I don't have this from the tip of my tongue, so 24 hours times 7, 168 times 4 weeks, 672 times 12. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I missed something here. So 24 times, I missed one number, 7. Okay, 24 hours times 7, 168 times 4 weeks, 672 times 12. Yeah, I guess I did something wrong with the previous one. Pretty much we're talking about spending. I'm trying to calculate here the percentages. And bear with me because I'm making you think as well as we are here together. Okay? 28 times 12. 300 and, yeah, a year. Okay. So, yeah, I forgot one number. That's what I forgot. Sorry. So, 8,000 times 30, 240,000 hours. Now, let's see how many times you're talking about percentage-wise. If we use 1 hour a day, 7 days a week, every week for every month of the year for 30 years, we're spending 10,000 hours in that action of the good. Okay? But this is no more than 4% of our time. Think about it. If you spend 1 hour a day doing the good without any return, any expectation of reward whatsoever, per day, for 30 years, you're using 4% of God's time given to you to do that good. What do you think? Now we understand why Dr. Germiniano Gois is telling us to observe time. Time is the sublimation of the saint, is the beauty of the hero. And for the happy heart of the good worker, it becomes heaven. So let us expand our understanding so we can use our time more wisely. So let us talk about when we don't use our time wisely. He talks about mental fixations. He's saying in these mediumistic meetings, we see all these suffering and disturbed spirits talking about the misdeeds. When they were sowing in the past, they sowed evil and they collected mud and gall. And where do we make a mistake? When we allow ourselves to be single-minded. He talks about mental fixation. Mental fixation, that's a huge problem for us. André Luiz, in the book Mechanisms of Mediumship, is going to talk about mental fixation. We've been studying obsession, and obsession happens because we focus our minds in a single idea, like the man who only saw gold, 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 gold everywhere. In his life, in the afterlife, he kept seeing gold, 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 gold. Do you have a mental fixation on anything? Some people do. They look at themselves in the mirror and say, oh, I'm not beautiful enough. And they keep that. I'm not beautiful enough. Look at the movie or the story of Snow White. It's about the person who is totally fixated in that beauty. And she can't see anybody prettier than her. She's capable of killing, not only for power, but because she wants to be the most beautiful. That exists. That exists everywhere. Mental fixation. Some people went through experiences in their life and they focus on that. Oh, people don't respect me. And they wake up feeling people don't respect me. They sleep feeling people don't respect me. People don't take me seriously. People don't take me serious. They wake up feeling that I'm not as good as somebody else because they have a PhD and I don't. I'm not good enough because I don't have a title. I'm not good enough because I don't have a title. That's mental fixation. And then we become easy prey to obsessors who are going to play with that feeling of inferiority, that mental fixation. Like the previous chapter we studied. We studied the spirit who, George, who was married, who was engaged, and he couldn't renounce his wounded ego. He committed a crime and then another crime, homicide and then suicide. So what is your mental fixation? We need to evaluate. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, Blessed are the afflicted is the largest, the longest chapter, chapter 5. There's a subtopic named calm and resignation. We cannot be resigned, be abnegated, be surrendered to life when we have a mental fixation. Because then we don't let go. So in the next 24 hours, we need to do this exercise. First, identify our mental fixations. And second, think about how to change them. Because if we don't change, they will become plugs through which the obsessors will plug in. And God allows it because we need to change this plug. We need to recycle it. And you may be asking, how? How do we do it? Well, I'll tell you how. He says in the message, let us expand the horizon of our understanding, oxygenizing our souls, filtering only the light so that the light favors us. So he's saying, open your mind so you're not single-minded. So we are not cultivating single ideas in the loop. Oh, that person did this to me. 30 years went by and people are still ding, ding, ding. But that person did this to me. But or people who go through difficult experiences like cancer, they recover and years go by and they keep telling the story. Time and again, time and again, time and again, time and again. Bless, like Sister Shayla says in one of her messages, bless the past. And let us get out of this mental fixation. That's why Dr. Gemiliano Góes begins this message by saying, we need to consider that we're still evolving, so we need to expand our horizons. When we are children, we're so open-minded, right? But when we become adults, we start crystallizing. Everything becomes rigid. The mind. Let us expand our horizons of understanding. That's why we need to read and go back to our lives and feel it. Mental fixation. Observe it, bless the past, and choose to expand your understanding in that regard. Let's say somebody is fixated. Nobody respects me. Okay. Who doesn't respect you? That person, my boss, because my boss never talks to me like he talks to somebody else. Well, in a way, it's jealousy, right? And jealousy derives from selfishness and pride. Let us expand our horizon, as Emmanuel says, and get out of the mental fixation. Do you respect your boss? Because your boss, if you understand and expand your understanding, you're not going to expect your boss to do something to you that you don't do to him or to her. Look at your boss and say, wow, he must focus more on that person because he needs more help and that person is already there. And you can't beat the laws of affinity. That's how it is. And it doesn't mean that you're less. It just means that apples are apples and oranges are oranges. And you understand that this is the way it is. That your boss has affinity with that person. That doesn't mean he doesn't respect you. That just means that he feels more easily connected with that person. That doesn't mean you're a bad person or you're less. It just means that apples are apples. They are apples. You're orange. But you appreciate that you're fruits. Too much of a philosophy, right? But let's talk about it. Expanding our understanding through the use of our reasoning. So we are not caught up in single ideas, which is very dangerous. From single ideas and the loop of them, we are imprisoned by obsessing spirits. You don't want to be imprisoned by obsessing spirits. And they will use it when we're the most vulnerable. When you're sick, when you have a baby, when you lost your job, when you are financially constricted, etc., etc. So take advantage of this moment to go within and find these mental fixations and get out of this. He says, you who have found in our company so many painful problems of mental fixation, consider the importance of the day that runs away. And he says, expand the horizon of our understanding and avoid the ingestion of evil. Because when we are in mental fixation, we are ingesting that ignorance of ours. And then we have to digest the consequent mud and the gall. Terrible. How liberating is this message by Dr. Geminiano Voice? Deeply liberating. Let us focus on this and pray to God. We pray to you, God, that we feel the presence of the illuminated spirits who are with us. The guardian angels, the protecting spirits, the spirit instructors who want us to feel freer from our mental fixations. We want to let go of these inferior feelings and thoughts and expand our minds today and always, and so be it. It feels good to be empowered, and today Dr. Geminiano Góes has empowered us by making us think of the use of our time wisely in the good, while conquering greater understanding to eliminate these single ideas, these mental fixations that may be traps in our lives. We thank you for watching this program with us and being here with us. We want to give you a big hug of gratitude and joy, hoping that tomorrow will be freer from these mental fixations than today. Because we are here at Cardiac Radio, always nourishing ourselves. Thank you, friends. Until tomorrow, God willing.